Hello, it's Matt, your man for Media Mischief. And why are we still getting Strangers movies? Don't get me wrong, I know the first movie has a cult following, and there was even that time when they had Things. But is all that enough to warrant what will be 5 movies before the end of 2024? Well, that's what I'm gonna find out today. Before The Strangers Chapter 1 arrives in theaters, I'm gonna watch the first 2 Strangers movies for the first time and try to find out why this franchise has so much staying power. Let's start with The Strangers is a 2008 movie starring Arwen and that guy from Underworld. The film opens by ripping off the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then 30 minutes of nothing happens. When something finally does happen, weak jump scares abound. Here's Strangers. Armageddon outta here. Even if I wanted to engage with this movie on a dramatic level, I can't because every character talks and moves like their dog just died. Except for Glenn Howerton. He's always great. Aw man, R.I.P. Dennis. Then, after a night of repetitive bullshit, the leads die. Or do they? But the true tragedy of this movie? This fucker littered and wasted all that ice cream! Well, that was a real snooze fest. Let's see if we have any better luck with... After almost a decade in development hell, The Strangers got a sequel in 2018, The Strangers Pray at Night. I will give the movie this. Unlike its predecessor, it knows the importance of a strong first scene. It doesn't succeed at it, but at least it knows it. The movie also takes itself less seriously than the previous one, so it has kinda neat stuff like this comical shot of Christina Hendricks' corpse, vehicular violence, and some musical storytelling. And the acting is way less understated. It even has character work in the second and third acts that I actually sorta like. But overall, if you didn't like the first Strangers movie, there's not much to recommend. Sure, it's a funner movie, but it's still a Strangers movie, just with a traditional nuclear family instead of a couple. And I think a lot of that comes down to... The Strangers movies are not good. The movies have received mixed reviews at best, and have never been well received by general audiences. I think a notable deal of that is due to the Strangers themselves. There are hints at a personality with them. They're music fans and sadistic, though so is every slasher villain worth their salt, but there's nothing else to them. They're like an AI checklist version of a slasher. Disable phone communication. Stab with knife. Spare final girl. Hell, before I set out to make this video, I didn't even realize this girl and this girl were 2 different killers. That's not a good sign. So with all that said, why do they keep making Strangers movies? Money. Yep, no matter how much red blood is in these films, the franchise is ultimately all about that green stuff. Despite everything I've said about these movies, they consistently make at least 6 times their budgets. And while no numbers have been published for Chapter 1 as of writing this script, in between getting a director for hire and your highest billed actress being from Riverdale, I'm willing to bet this new trilogy was shot on the cheap too. But hey, I've talked long enough. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you seen the Strangers movies? What did you think of them? Are you gonna see Chapter 1 or any of the other movies in this new trilogy? Let me know in the comments.